Welcome to Pause for a Second. This is our podcast that we have not done in a long time.
You know, I could really use a soda right now.
Yeah, everybody could use soda. Actually, I think we have soda. Anyway, screw that. We're not talking about that. We are talking about Jurassic World reactions and how we feel about the movie and,
With all this soda.
right? Stay on target.
No.
Stay on target.
We're too close.
We're staying on target. Right, stay
Listen
on target.
up!
Stay on target. All right, come on.
That's Jurassic Park. I can
The movie sucked.
I loved it.
Yeah, exactly. Now shut up and actually get on target. See, now I love the movie too, and I came in extremely cynical about it. I didn't really much care for how it began, and it was a little too slow, and it just felt, I don't know, it just felt like, oh, hey, you guys remember the old park? Wink, wink. Yeah, you remember this. This is the doors from the original Jurassic Park that now goes through a monorail. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, you know, I came in very cynical. I was cynical when it was announced. I was cynical when it was being filmed. I was cynical right up until the point when I found out that they had created, and all this is going to be spoilers, so do not care. So if you don't want spoilers, please stop listening. And you know what? If you want spoilers, please listen, because this is not going to be spoiler-free. There.
We're spoiling everything because we got to talk about a lot of it.
Oh, we got to talk about a lot. It wasn't until they introduced the Adonis Rex. Or was it?
Indominus Rex.
Thank you, Indominus Rex. I could not remember what it is.
Indomitable.
Indominance?
Indomitable.
Dominatrix.
Stop. You know what I said.
Yeah, I know what you said. Anyway, it wasn't until they introduced that they're going to have a hybrid dinosaur that my first thoughts were, God, that is so freaking stupid. You know what? Just whatever. But giving it a chance after seeing a few trailers, including the Super Bowl trailer,
Yeah.
I just had to give it, I'm just going to give it a shot. I'm not going to ignore it. So, the movie opens up with, the two brothers getting ready to go to the park?
Yeah, and I love how fast that exposition is. It's not like we're dragging it on for 10 minutes to learn more about the people like in some movies did.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to lie. I thought there could have been a little bit more character development when it came to the parents.
Yeah.
And you didn't really get the sense that that it's a broken home. Like, they talk about it, but they don't really go into the in-depth discussion of that the home is kind of broken. The parents are kind of like looking towards separation. That the kids are going, they're going away for the winter break. It looked like at that.
Yeah, yeah, it was winter. Huh?
Yeah.
So, what I think was interesting was they didn't do the traditional Jurassic Park opening. Like they show like a glimpse of what the dinosaurs can do to people, and then they start the movie off in its own. And developing the story.
I think
usually they have like a really big opening of what dinosaurs can do with people if you're not careful.
Well, what Ryan is getting into is like the first Jurassic Park, it showed the Velociraptor getting loaded in, and then it ate a worker.
Yeah.
The second movie, the second movie opened up with the little girl getting eaten by those little dinosaurs.
Compies, yeah.
Yeah, she was getting eaten up by compies, which is in the book for the first Lost World by Michael Crichton, but.
Yeah.
It's not. They kind of glaze over it. The actual book, because in the book, it's actually talking about how compies sneak into the babies' rooms and they eat them and they eat the faces off, which is very, very graphical. But
yeah.
And then in the third movie has them flying near the island that is in question that had all the dinosaurs on it, and then like it was supposed to be like a parasailing thing. Like the son was parasailing with the uncle or
no, it was like a. I think it was I can't remember. It was part of a tour. It was like one of those like extreme tours, like tour in the area of dangerous forbidden zone.
Yeah, here you go. So,
but then the people on the boat, like while they're paragliding up, the people that are on the boat went to fog, and then like next thing you know, they're gone.
Next thing you know, they're taken away by the special effects we didn't want to use for it to save money.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I hated the third movie. I hated the second movie. I love the first. I mean, it is in 1993. It is the very first PG-13 movie I've ever seen. So to me, I mean, on VHS. I'm going to say it on VHS. We didn't, because we watched it in VHS.
We didn't see it in theaters.
We didn't get a chance to. We were like, I think we were too young at the time.
Yeah.
And
even then, that was.
that was intense. I think it was the raptor scenes that were the most intense.
Yeah.
This movie, as I told you, I didn't get the sense of intensity with the second movie. I didn't get the sense of intensity with the third movie. until the Raptor showed up, and then they used the stupid Raptor vocal cord bull crap, which, God, to this day, to this day, I think it's the stupid. Next to the Batman credit card in Batman and Robin, I think that is the second most stupidest thing I've seen used in a movie.
Let's stay focused here. Let's get back to the movie.
Oh God, okay, going back to the movie.
This rounds up the saga great. In a great way.
So this doesn't have that suspense. In fact, there is no suspense. In fact, it actually has that feel of a Six Flags, Marine World, Disney park that has that kind of. They have the attractions, they have the stuff, they have everything. Everything's kind of layered out for everybody to enjoy, and that's what makes it an interesting movie to me.
It's a really good thriller. I mean,
well, it has
I was
build
waiting
up.
for it. It doesn't have jump scares.
No, it has the build up, but the jump scares, as you say, it has jump scares, but the jump scares are when everything has fallen apart. And that's the thing I liked about the movie, is that it had a fall apart as you went along. Like, it didn't just like in the first Jurassic Park, everything kind of just falls apart, and it just falls apart, falls apart, falls apart, falls apart. This is like
a chain reaction.
It's like a chain reaction. Like, it falls apart here, okay, nobody's really affected. Okay, it falls apart here, okay, everything's starting to kind of get affected. It falls apart here, there's chaos everywhere.
Yeah.
There's 4 stages of how it falls apart, and it's really cool. The Rex itself, we're actually going to talk about that.
The Rex itself.
Because when they open up the movie with, like I said, this is all spoilers. They open up the movie with 2 eggs being hatched of the 2 dinosaurs that they actually created, and it was interesting how they brought back Henry Wu, because he was in the first Jurassic Park.
I thought that was him. That was great. That's a great way of like incorporating him.
Well, yeah, he's in there, and he actually does play a major role as far as where they're going to go with Jurassic Park from here on out.
Yeah,
and where they have gone with Jurassic World from here.
I'm glad they kept him along since the first movie.
So I think some of you are wondering, well, who's funding this park? It's not John Hammond. He's passed away, and it's actually the 8th. They say he's the 8th richest man in the world. It's an Indian dude.
Yeah,
the Indian dude. Now, okay, I want to get your thoughts on that, because as a business tycoon, go ahead. Like, what are your thoughts on when you first introduced him?
Interesting. I mean, it was not what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is a, not stereotypical, but he is a typical Indian businessman.
We're not going to be racist about that.
I'm
I'm trying to warn everybody. We're not going to be racist about it. But what, to me, as far as his personality, it came across as an entrepreneur that pushes, but then he didn't realize how by pushing, it pushes over what the morality is.
Yeah.
In other words, to me, he reminded me a lot of a carefree businessman.
Yeah.
Somebody who's like, okay, here, I got money here, and then we got this park, let's enjoy it, let's make more stuff, let's make cooler things, let's do all that, and then, you don't realize that you made a little bit too much when you make this new dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, now I lost my train of thought, you went too long.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, his role, it's understandable. I mean, you can't really see the danger of it, and they couldn't predict what's the results of their labor.
And it's one of those things I think they learned from the first Jurassic Park. Like, when Jurassic Park first came out,
yeah,
it's like, because that's the way the director talked about it. He was ignoring the second movie and the third movie and saying that this was a direct sequel for the first movie, which I got to admit I love the fact that they did that. You kill the events from Lost World, you kill the events from Jurassic Park 3, and you just say the island was never destroyed, the dinosaurs are still there. It makes a lot more sense that somebody would take it over.
Yeah. But there's just so many I mean, it makes sense because, like, even after that little incident with the first movie, there's way too much invested into that island itself.
Exactly.
For what's on it, what it is, and the technology there.
Well, there's billions of dollars just operating in that island. So you have your entrepreneur.
So sooner or later, someone's going to invest into it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have an entrepreneur that comes in and actually inherits the island from John Hammond and kind of makes it grow, changes it, and they talk about all the different attractions and everything like that. And like I said, we're going to be talking about. We got a little off track because we're coming back to this T-Rex hybrid that they made. It was mixed with a tree frog, a cuttlefish. Raptor. They revealed the Raptor at the very, very last possible moment.
But it is also based off T-Rex mostly.
But it's mostly built off of T-Rex. So they bring this thing up, and we'll get to some of the major character developments and everything like that as we go along. But
back to the businessman. I think he was well done in terms of they didn't just like throw like a stereotype on him.
Yeah, he wasn't a money grubber. He was somebody like, oh well, this is my park. Let's do some bold leaps. Let's make some. Which Henry Wu at the time, when he actually finally confronts him about the abomination that they make, that that's what he wanted. He wanted bigger, better, badder, and better, and you don't get that without pushing the envelope of what humanity is supposed to do.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, it's funny that it came to that point. Like, that they covered that. Like, it's only so long you can impress people with dinosaurs, but at the end of the day, they're still animals, so they're not going to it's going to be just a zoo after a while.
It'd be like another SeaWorld, except you can get eaten because the things are on land.
But even then, that's more control.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had control until that X Factor came in.
Yeah, like I said, the Indominus Rex. Did I say that right?
Indominus Rex, yes.
Okay, the Indominus Rex is very. Oh man, it's a very unique dinosaur in how it was, and it was very cool to see it in motion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things did surprise me. They brought a lot of things from Lost World that a couple of dinosaurs, actually, I won't, without spoiling it too much, because I do want you guys to enjoy it. Without spoiling it too much, it actually does a couple things that, in the book of the Lost World, when they did the hybrids, they did a few hybrids that actually were crossed with different other species, and the thing is, the dinosaurs that are created here, they're not pure. They're made of, birds, frogs, lizards. They're made of all different kinds of things in order to fill in the gene pool.
And even then, some of them, they did mention that there is ways to make pure dinosaurs, but it wouldn't be as thrilling, which makes me want curious what that way would look like.
Well, it's funny that Henry Wu brought that up, because I'll go right back to the book. In Jurassic Park, there is a scene in the book, in Michael Crichton's book, where him and John Hammond are talking about that.
Right. John
Hammond's over there. He's excited. The dinosaurs are they're real. They move. They do all this stuff. And Henry Wu's more sitting there like, John, maybe that's the problem. They're too real. They might be a little too, wild. If we were able to breed them to be dormant, we can actually make it to where it's a safe park. And he's like, no, that's not what I want. It's not real. It's not real. And that brought up an interesting thought, that if you're going to make dinosaurs, and make a park, why not make some dinosaurs docile and make some for research? Like the dangerous ones, put them out there on an island, say, if you go out there, go at your own risk, because, you're going to get eaten.
Yeah.
You're going to get eaten if you go out there. We'll set the experienced hunters and people who want to photograph and see these things, in their natural environment, and then we have some docile stuff for the kids. But in this park, it's like all the dinosaurs. It's a little bit both, but all the dinosaurs are treated like roller coasters.
Yeah,
is what I've looked at. All the dinosaurs are treated like, oh, let's go here, let's go here. The T-Rex feeding was an interesting one.
Yeah, that was interesting.
That was an interesting scene. I mean, it's glazed over, but it's interesting. So now we get to Chris Pratt as, what was he, Owen Grady?
I think so.
Get your phone.
It's
out.
Owen.
His name, yeah, he says his name's Owen, and we get to Bryce Dallas Howard, and she's like the businesswoman. She treats all the dinosaurs like, they're numbers on a page. They're just property pieces and little little chess pieces that they put in position. Like I said, like roller coasters. All dinosaurs aren't treated like animals. They're treated like events, thrillers, that kind of thing. And when we get to Owen, which is Chris Pratt's character as the raptor tamer, and basically, my God, that scene in itself was very tense. Where the worker falls in and he has to go get him out, and just that in itself just lends to how difficult it would be to be an animal tamer. So what is his name?
It just says Owen. Doesn't have his last name.
They say his last name, but it's like they kind of glaze over it a little bit. But Chris Pratt in this role, he does a really good job, but there is way too much in the theme of the movie. There's way too much of this control versus not in control. there's too much weaponization versus environmentalism. And it's not beating you over the head like it was in Lost World. Like Lost World was just environmentalism, environmentalism, environmentalism. You have to leave the dinosaurs alone. Don't touch the dinosaurs. Don't do the preach, 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 preach. Shut up.
Because you had Ian Malcolm and the redhead being the main characters.
Yeah,
So we were doomed to be on that side.
Yeah, it's Julianne Moore.
She's not important. Anyway.
Anyway, so you have a little bit of this conflict going between, because Engine's on the island, an Engine representative.
Yeah.
And him and Owen are going back and forth, and they want to use the Velociraptors as weapons, and it's the one thing I liked about Chris Pratt's character is that even though he has a little bit of respect for these creatures, and they have whatever respect you can gauge from a dinosaur,
from a
predator, he knows that they can't be controlled, that they're wild animals, that they're things that he shouldn't even be messing with, that he doesn't, there's no books on how to control these things. Everything is a touch and go subject.
Yeah, because even as like feral animals, there's one thing you know about feral animals, even though you can live with them your whole life, they're still, instincts can kick in any time.
Yeah, the whole fear of man thing.
Fear of man thing, it's always that danger. And he knows it too. He expresses that there's always that, he doesn't trust him. Like, he knows he can't trust him.
He knows he can't trust him. He shouldn't turn his back. In fact, he tells one of the kids who's, like, brand new, don't ever put your back to the cage, which leads to a really good scene that was a good... Like I said, it was a good... There's a few good jump scares that are used here.
But it's not in places... The jump scares are not in places I thought there would be jump scares.
Yeah, they're not... They don't hit the beats that Jurassic Park used to hit. Like, silence, boom. Silence, boom. Silence, boom. There, they don't hit those beats. They hit boom, and and one thing they do is they keep it tense. They always keep it tense because they show what this creature can do. They show what this Indominus Rex can do, and that whole thing just caused chaos through the whole park. It was like a domino effect.
Yeah, it did.
Like, it wasn't one of those things like, okay, like in the first movie when the T-Rex gets out, T-Rex is out, but it doesn't. But the X factor is until the Raptors come out, and that's where all the chaos. But by that point, everything's shut off.
Yeah.
At that point, everything's shut off. So it has its.
But this thing actually is causing chaos.
Yeah, well, because it's
kills where it goes, causes destruction, causing more destruction.
You know what?
Kills its ghost.
But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a young puma that in a Brazilian. There was a Brazilian zoo that had a very young puma. And it got out and it started killing random animals, and it couldn't figure out its whole life it had been put in one secluded spot, and that's the thing with this Rex. It had been put in one secluded spot, and nobody could figure out, what was the problem up until it got out, and it started killing random things because it was trying to learn, and that's what this reminded me of. It reminded me of a young animal that's a predator that's out. And now it needs to figure out... Now it's trying to figure out where it belongs in that whole chain of events.
Yeah.
So it's killing all these dinosaurs because, one, it never learned how to hunt. Two, it's learning how to hunt. And three, it's in the middle of all this chaos. It's
just trying to figure out, is it the dominant one?
Yeah.
If it's the dominant one, and how far can it go? Because what I liked was when it was learning, when it fought an ankylosaur, and it tried different approaches that a first-time predator would do. It tried going for the shell was too hard. He tried clawing it from the sides. It got cut. Until finally he learned how to flip it over and then kill it from there.
But see,
that's what's smart.
But see, what happens? See, that thing is when it comes to not having a parent, that's what it does.
Yeah.
A parent, it injures an animal so that the young one can learn how to get it. Now you have kind of a semi-full-grown dinosaur because it wasn't full-grown yet. It was supposed to be bigger than a T-Rex. It wasn't full-grown yet, and it was supposed to be, and it's classified as its... And that's the thing that, going back to with the Henry Wu thing, it was designed with all these predatory things and all this aggression.
Yeah.
And the cuttlefish is extraordinarily aggressive. And, all the stuff they mixed it in, because they had some snakes, some python in there, and a few other things.
That's all I remember.
They had a few...
T-Rex, python...
They had like 5 animals in it.
Tree frog, cuttlefish, raptor.
They had like 5 animals in it, and they're all super highly aggressive. So you have super highly aggressive, highly intelligent animal running through this park. And when the park starts to get overrun, that's when it's actually pretty interesting. I do want to talk one thing about the park though. Going back to the story, as everything is, I like the setup. It has a very Disney feel to it.
It does.
It felt. Didn't it not feel like Main Street mixed in with a little bit of the Adventureland?
I think more of Animal Kingdom from.
Oh, you think like Animal Kingdom? Yeah,
and more specified.
I'm talking about like not how the setup is. I'm talking about the entrance too, like the shops and everything.
Oh yeah, which is. I thought it was funny. I thought because there's been commercials going on for weeks about different product placement commercials. I thought that was something they did on their own, but no, there actually is product placement in the movies. But it is like the park itself is corporate sponsored. It costs that's a big part that costs tons of money.
Well, it's funny that you say that because it's what what's his name's character, Chris Pratt's character Owen brings up. Why don't you just name or no, not Chris Owen, not Chris Pratt. It was the nerdy guy that was in there.
Yeah,
who had an Ian Malcolm book of all things. I think it was like God Creates Chaos or something like that. That was the book. I can't remember what the title of the book was because they had it out of focus. It's like, oh, you jerks! I really want to know what the title of that book was, but
it was back in Lost World. They explained it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to watch.
It was a nice little Easter egg for Lost World.
Yeah,
if
you bothered,
and if you're really desperate for Easter eggs, there is a Jurassic Park 3 Easter egg. That being the Spinosaurus skeleton.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the Spinosaur, it's
Spinosaur. It's a T-Rex smashing through it.
Oh yeah,
which was awesome. Which was awesome. And we will get to the end because we're kind of coming to the end, and we want to just keep this at a 30-minute review. We're just going to hit the beats of what we thought was really good. Bryce Dallas Howard, I thought she did a pretty good job. She did a good job of placing a businesswoman who's realizing that she has isolated her humanity and forgotten about what it was to be a person, and rather than actually focusing on business, realizing that because it's her nephews that come to visit her at the park where she basically is the director of it, and it's kind of nice to see that evolution and progression. For the two brothers, I thought I was going to hate the older brother because he kind of hit all the same notes that you usually hit in the annoying
stereotypical teens, like any teen you can get off the street. He has that down.
He had that down, and then it wasn't until they got in danger that they actually started to become more like brothers.
They bonded. Even though it was during crisis, they still bonded, and you end up liking them in the end. Yeah,
the younger brother I thought was going to annoy me, but he actually did not at all. He looked like he was going to annoy me from the get-go. From the first 2 seconds I saw him.
He's enthusiastic. He's what...
No. I'm talking about before they get on the plane. I'm talking about that scene before they're about to go.
We're still talking about the beginning. That beginning is fast.
I thought for sure, like I said, the beginning was so fast I didn't have time to be angry at it.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure he was going to annoy me, but he turned out to be somebody, I ended up liking the younger brother.
Yeah.
I ended up liking a lot about the movie. Things I didn't like, I gotta say, I didn't like some of the message that was conveyed. Some of the dialogue felt a bit messy. If I could just be overly critical, some of the dialogue felt a bit messy. It felt a little harder to follow. It felt like it was going over my head, which I'm like, I wonder how somebody who's younger than me would feel about it, because I remember watching Jurassic Park and that went over my head. It wasn't until I watch it now that I'm like, oh, well, that kind of hits the notes I'm looking at.
Yeah.
What I meant by going over my head means some of the genetics, and not the genetics, but the morality of what they're doing. And from the argument side, nobody's wrong. That's the funny part. Nobody's wrong. I could see from the point of view of the engine guys that you do kind of need weapons. It's something like this. Wow, that is kind of, what are you breeding it for though?
Yeah.
You're breeding it for what? Just to look at it? You can't just look at something like that. It's a weapon.
Especially all the money going into it.
But I see from Chris Pratt, Owen's character, that point of view, these are animals. You can't control them. There's nothing you can do about it. You might as well just try to get out of the way. But he's not one of those environmentalists because he's a Navy SEAL. It's just one of those things with having a healthy respect for what these creatures are.
Yeah.
I can see it also from Harry Wu's point. You asked me to create this stuff. Well, pushing the envelope is always creating something new. They're not monsters. That whole thing about the canary and the cat analogy was awesome.
That was a good analogy.
That was a perfect analogy.
Yeah, that was a good analogy. The analogy was that to a canary, a cat is a monster.
Mm-hmm. We're used to being the cat.
We're used to being the cat, yeah.
So now we have a bigger monster. So we're used to something else being. So now something's a bigger monster than we are.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like it's very. I can't say that there's nobody wrong in this argument. If you look at it from the standpoint,
it also has the theme of. There's also the question going around from this movie: is are humans the bigger monster? But I love how it's not like shoved in your face in this movie.
It isn't.
Because it is what it is.
But like I said, once the park gets in chaos, it's one of those things where it's like it's perfect. It hits all the notes to keep the chaos, to keep the tension going. And every time that little Rex is up there, that iRex, I'm going to call it iRex because, you know, hey, Apple, market that. iRex.
No, don't. Great. Now, Apple presents the iRex.
You know what?
Biggest, fiercest predator.
My God, that would have been, if they had Apple, they had Samsung in there. It was Verizon.
No, it's Samsung and Verizon.
Samsung Verizon for the Indominus Rex, and I'm like, you know, if you had Apple in there, you could have just called it iRex. I'm like, so much marketing.
Featuring the iRex, bigger, stronger than Samsung's wimpy T-Rex.
No, it would have been like better than Microsoft's Tyrannosaurus Rex. And so we come to the part where they finally release, you know, the raptors to go hunt this thing, and then they have the big reveal that this thing's part raptor, and immediately as soon as those raptors turn, I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing Owen can do about this. Yeah. And even he knew it, and he's like, light that thing up, and they're like, light it up. So they lit it up, and
it's funny because
spoiler, our black guy lives. I thought for sure. I'm like, we have our
lives.
Asian guy die in the first 30 minutes of hunting that thing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, there's our quota. I guess so I wonder if they're going to kill the black guy because I saw a black guy up there. I'm like, oh, a black guy who's a raptor trainer. He's going to get eaten. Then I saw the Asian guy. I'm like, no, the Asian guy's first because he's actually hunting the thing. And I'm like, okay, the black guy should be next. Oh, he didn't eat the black guy.
Or he couldn't, but we won't get into that.
Or like I said, if you guys think of the raptor scene from the first Jurassic Park and take it and put it into the entire movie, like that is what it was. It was that tense through the most of the movie, and we did have a theater where everybody was.
Yeah, it was good.
We did have a lot of people kind of getting tense.
Yeah, there is a lot of like. It has a lot of like good moments, a good thriller to it.
The final scene, they're running through the entrance of the park. Like our four main characters, they're all running through the entrance of the park. The iRex, I'm going to call it iRex. The iRex is chasing, because I love that name. iRex is chasing them through with his new Puma software. I'm sorry, he's chasing them through the main entrance, and the little boy says something that I thought was interesting. He says, we need more teeth, and it's like, my first thing I'm thinking is like, if you guys are trying to make this a sequel to the first one, then that T-Rex has not been doing anything for quite a while, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, I was kind of suspicious, wondering they have so much T-Rex in this movie.
Yeah,
but okay, the final scene, which let's not go into that part too much.
No, it's a spoiler. This is a spoiler. Spoiler. If you don't want to hear us talk about the end, I'm going to say it right now because Ryan, go hold your thought.
You can hold my thoughts this whole time.
No, hold your thought. If you guys don't want to hear it, stop it right now. Go.
When that T-Rex came, I looked at that those two facing off, and I thought, please, just please, for once, let this be as epic as I thought it's going to take place. And I was right.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man. The T-Rex fighting it.
When it went down, okay, I'm not going to lie, I had Jurassic Park 3 flashbacks all in my head, and it looked like it was going to be Jurassic Park 3, and somebody said, nah, F that, put a Velociraptor in there.
Someone was a fan.
Somebody was a fan of the first one and said, put a Velociraptor in there. We're going to have a fun. So you have a Velociraptor, and a T-Rex fighting an Indominus Rex. It's the most bat-ish insane you could ever think of.
I mean, oh my goodness, if you ever thought two dinosaurs fighting, or some dinosaurs fighting each other, this is the scene to reference to. That's a reference one now.
It's like, dude,
we waited our whole existence for this clip, that
wonderful moment where it comes up and it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
we're gonna have a Velociraptor and a T-Rex fighting a hybrid dinosaur, and then how it ends. I almost wanted to clap because I hated that thing.
I wanted to clap.
I didn't hate
it, but I wanted to clap too because
I hated that thing.
it was so satisfying to have that ending.
Well, the reason why I hated that thing is just because, once again, it's that young dinosaur thing. It's just killing stuff just for the sake of killing, and it's just making a mess. And it's like, you know what? Just die.
It's proved to be almost indestructible throughout the whole movie.
Through the whole movie, it is taking everything they could dish at them.
Because you see why Ingen would want that thing as a weapon.
Yeah.
It pretty much causes havoc.
And it's not on purpose either, but it's smart enough to know what it's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it tore out its freaking tracker out of its neck.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Crazy.
So that whole ending, I mean, and then it ends on a very interesting note too, as far as, you know, what's going to happen with the park. There's no answers to that. It's kind of like how the first Jurassic Park closes.
Yeah.
They're done. They go home. Anything that happens to the park, it's over. But they did give me one thing I absolutely loved.
What's that?
My T-Rex porn. When I mean
you
T-Rex
have to call
porn,
it that?
yeah, you have to call it that because it's basic. It serves no other purpose. It's my T-Rex eye candy.
Yeah, eye candy for fan
It's
service.
my eye candy. It's a T-Rex giving me a roar. They did it in the first movie. They did it in the second movie. They did it in the third movie.
There's not really much in the third movie.
Oh no! Actually, you know what ended it in the third movie? That freaking pterodactyl that did jack nothing.
Yeah.
And it jack nothing. Oh, you remember this? Scream! Fade to black. Oh, come on! No, wait. It's the second movie that did that. The second movie had the T-Rex roaring in the background of San Diego. That's where I remember it. It wasn't the ending though.
Yeah, that wasn't the ending. No.
Dang, I don't remember how the third one ended then.
No. I don't remember either.
No. We're not going to even try it. But it gave me. It showed the Tyrannosaurus Rex at the research paddock, getting up there, roaring it with the view of Jurassic World, like all in shambles, and just roaring. And it's like perfect. That's exactly how you ended it. And you know what? I'm fine with that.
And that's one thing I like about the Jurassic Park movies. They don't bore you with the exposition of what's going to happen in the aftermath. It's just, it's over, we're going home. It'll figure itself out like it usually does, because that'll be too many characters that don't even mention this movie that's going to figure that out. Mm-hmm. But it does leave it open for a sequel, and if they do, I'll be happy for that.
I would too. I would actually go ahead and watch it.
And judging by the way of how much success it's gaining, I would not be surprised if there is one in the near future.
So right now on Metacritic, it's a 59% approval rating from the critics, 71% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, and it's got a I want to say it's a 7.4 on IMDb.
But you don't just ignore the critics. It's an enjoyable movie.
Let's just say if you watch the first two sequels, I'm going to say this is much more of an enjoyable sequel than those two.
I mean, what I liked is there's not like, usually there's some moments I like cringe kind of in movies. Mm-hmm. I had almost none in this movie. The characters, if you didn't like them, you'll end up liking them towards the end. Mm-hmm. Everyone who's a bad guy gets their just desserts. Ish. I mean, where they're not kind of bad guys, they're just people.
Well, like I said,
Henry at the gray area.
Henry wasn't really. He operated in the confines of what you're supposed to do as a scientist.
Yeah.
His deal was to keep his research and work alive. I can't hate on that. I can't hate on somebody who has worked so hard, made a career out of this, and for 20 years that's been his life, is building dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Building dinosaurs is his life.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what Henry Wu did, and it's kind of right back into the hands of who it originally belongs to.
Yeah.
It's not a private investor. It now belongs to a corporation. Can't be mad at that.
You can't be mad at that. But, like I said, it just opens up more possibilities now.
It does. So, a bonus. I'm just going to talk about the look of the dinosaurs. We're going to glaze over it real quick, because all we wanted to talk about was just the movie itself as a movie. The dinosaurs, I gotta say, they looked pretty much on par with the first movie.
Yeah.
They had a lot more muscle definition to them. They still looked a little more too CG, but you know what? It looked like it was going to be a very CG heavy movie. I was hoping for a few more puppets.
Yeah, I'm glad there were some puppets though.
There were some puppets. I think for the raptor scenes, they used a few puppets for that.
That down Apatosaur, that one's a puppet too.
Yeah, that was a puppet. That was a puppet for the close-ups. They used a few puppets for close-ups and human interactions, which I gotta say is a nice welcome to have.
Yeah.
Most of the dinosaurs are CG. You're gonna like the way the raptors look. Raptors look. They actually look they don't look as frail as they did in the first movie. First movie, they looked a little frail. This movie, they look like they can do some damage.
Yeah, they look more like raptors.
They look more like something that they could kill something.
Yeah.
And the T-Rex looks just as good. And from what I heard, it's the T-Rex from the first movie. Because it was a young T-Rex. It was only in the first year. It was only in its first year stage, and they said animal captivity, you can keep an animal alive for at least 20 to 30 years, and that's what they've done with that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's the behind-the-scenes look of it, because they showed the markings of it. It's had all the claw marks from the raptor attacks it initially endured.
Yeah.
So, and it was nice to get a little nod to the park. John Williams music, it's nice to see that in there.
That's great.
Michael Giacchino, the guy who does all the music for The Incredibles, Pixar, he does all their
Trek, yeah.
Yeah,
he does great work.
His music was on point. It was atmospheric. I love the fact that it made me feel. He had music that made me feel welcome. He had music that made me feel tense. He had music that had a good pace, good track.
Yeah.
All in all, good effort, guys. I mean, I'm gonna give you guys a real star rating. I'm gonna say I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it 8 stars, dude.
I give it a strong 9.
I give it 8 stars, and this is based on like a good 10-star rating.
This is a movie I can come back to.
This is a movie I'm going to buy on Blu-ray. When it comes out, I'm going to add it to my collection. No, I'm serious. I'm going to add it to my collection along with Jurassic Park, and I'm going to ignore the other 2 sequels and say that is a sequel. It took me 20 years to get a sequel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. But all in all, it's a good rating. You guys should go check it out. I mean, we saw it, we saw it in a matinee form because that's the time we could catch it. We really wanted to do midnight, but we didn't get a chance to do the midnight. Other than that, you got any final thoughts on the movie?
If you're a big Jurassic Park fan, this is a good movie for you. Mm-hmm. If you are familiar with Jurassic Park, like in-depthly, you'll notice a lot of Easter eggs, but they're not like they're not winks and nods. They're more like if you recognize it's
the goggles was a wink and nod.
Okay, the goggles, yes. But
the goggles were a wink and a nod.
I'm talking about the old products with the old park.
Okay, yeah, like the old Jeep. That was nice to see.
Yeah,
fix it up.
The shirt. The guy's shirt.
I thought that was more of a wink and a nod. That kind of annoyed me a little bit.
But then when the characters do say it, like they do make reference to that world, is like it's still kind of bad taste to mention that old park.
Exactly, and it might be bad taste to mention this old park as well. This park as well.
Yeah,
might be. So, my final thoughts. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your comment. You can comment on my
Just
stuff.
Keep crushing on my hopes and dreams.
I'm sorry. You can comment on my final thoughts. Here, comment on my final thoughts.
I'm out of it.
No, it's okay. No, seriously.
No, really, I don't have a thought right now.
Okay, no, I mean like I'm gonna say my thought. You go ahead and just follow suit. With everybody angry at me.
You keep derailing my train of thoughts.
You're derailing my train now. My train's almost off the tracks. If you're a Jurassic Park fan, you're actually going to love this. There is not a lot of toy sales in here as far as being like, oh, here's a dinosaur, we're going to sell a toy. Here's a dinosaur, we're going to sell a toy. This actually has a movie. It actually has a plot. It's a little weak, in my opinion, as far as what it does, but as far as what its purpose is to be, as far as telling a story, it does a very good job of putting you in that event. Like, here's the event, this park is successful, now here's where it falls apart. Of course, it just made me go, man, can we just watch a movie where the park is just okay?
Maybe the island's cursed.
Maybe that's the curse, that you're not supposed to see the park when it's okay, otherwise we wouldn't have any movies.
Wait, didn't wasn't there a quote for that, saying that movie, from the movie series, that the island's cursed?
I think so.
Locals call it cursed?
Yeah, the locals call it cursed, but I think that's only in what prior events that would have happened.
Yeah.
That's only in prior events. So, I mean, overall, if you are a Jurassic Park fan, don't be a cynic. Go in there. Go with an open mind. You're going to like the movie. You're not going to love it. You're going to like it. It's not going to be something that, that will be breathtakingly, mind-changingly, wonderful like the first movie was. But it is going to try to meet the standards that the first movie does, and that's what they do. Don't try to remake the first movie. Try to meet the standards and try to show what progression does. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean,
so progression is the whole theme of that movie.
Progression, when I say perfect, I mean the movie's not perfect. I mean the idea of showing progression, that's the perfect way to go with a sequel of this type.
With a sequel, yeah.
So
it's a fitting sequel.
Yeah, so I guess we're done here. You guys have our ratings, you guys have our thoughts. Leave any thoughts that you may have in the comments if you've already seen the movie. If not, it'd be appreciative if you can actually tell us what your trolling thoughts are.
Don't let him. Don't welcome that.
I welcome the trolls. Once we have trolls, we have officially arrived.
We're running Raptors for those guys.
I got a couple Raptors for them.